right?
Oh, of course.
And was it Dipper or Dripper?
I think it was Honey Dripper.
I think it was too, but I'm not sure. I looked Honey Dripper up in like 9 dictionaries during the break, and you would think that somebody would have it in there, but what I said about what the guy did cleaning out the outhouse, that was his gig.
What about the movie? Did you like the movie?
Sea of Love?
Yeah.
The only part of the movie I liked is when they used a can of beer and pretended it was a microphone and sang the song. The film, I thought that was cool because I've done that. I mean, I used cans of, not a can of beer, he used a bottle of beer.
Right.
He used a bottle of beer, John Goodman did, and they're all crocked and they sang the song. I've done that 9 million times in my life back in the drinking years.
Do you think Ellen Barkin's hot?
Ellen Barkin what?
I think she's hot.
Let me ask you a question. Do you sign your own checks?
No.
I bet you do, pal. That's my answer. Hello, Marcy. Marcy, are you there? Marcy. We lost Marcy. Well, the hell with you, Marcy. Okay, so that was it. And again, it was Like a Virgin, Madonna, All I Need, Jack Wagner. You're the Inspiration, Chicago. Philip Bailey, I didn't know if Phil Collins was on that. Easy Lover, Run to You, Bryan Adams, Wild Boys, Duran Duran, We Belong, Pat Benatar, Born of the USA, Springsteen, Honey Dripper, Sea of Love, I Would Die for You, Prince, and The Revolution. Top 10 records this day in 1985. Penguins tonight at 7:30 with the pregame at 7:20. By the way, remember the other day we were talking about Dennis Rodman and how much money should this guy really get, the guy that he kicked on the Stones? Remember I said about 200 G's should do it? Apparently that's what the guy got, 200 thou. I'm guessing it was easier to take the money than to go to court. The Rodman people called, or they called the Rodman people, hey, what's a reasonable figure here? Is there any permanent damage, any this, any that? All right, take a couple hundred G's and let that be the end of it. The scary thing is not that the guy got 200 G's. I'm thrilled the guy got 200,000. There's a side of me that would like to have seen Dennis Rodman bankrupt because I think Dennis Rodman's an idiot. I happen to like Dennis Rodman, but I like idiots. I'm that kind of a guy. Not what he did. Nobody would defend that. But there was a side of me that on the one hand wanted to see him bankrupted, and on the other hand I said to myself, you know, what did he do? He kicked the guy in the Stones. Not a pleasant thing. Anyone who's ever been on the receiving end of that will raise their hand and say, I agree, Uncle Dougie, I agree. Well, on the other hand, if there was no permanent damage, 7 or 8 minutes worth of national humiliation, he gets on the television shows, he's a big star for 15 minutes, he gets a couple 100,000. God love him, let that be the end of it. But my problem with it, in reading the article, which I don't have in front of me, his attorney would not comment. His attorney would not comment. What that probably means is that he used an attorney to negotiate the settlement, which means that this guy didn't get no 200 G's. A lawyer's going to take a chunk of that. I don't know whether it's 10%, 20%, 1/3. I have not the slightest idea. But for a couple of phone calls, the lawyer is now richer by 30, 40. Now, that bugs me. This guy should get all of that money tax-free, all right, and be able to go away and not annoy people. Because I understand he now stutters. Talk Radio 1250 WTA.
What did Santa get you this?
590006.
Hi, this is Phil Music, and the only thing that's changed is the time slot.
That is, the simple truth.
You can now find me weeknights, 11 p.m. until 2 a.m. with the usual Night Watch features. The book hour Wednesday nights, the restaurant show Thursday nights, and of course the movie show Fridays, plus the steady supply of fascinating guests.
I could listen to you all night.
That's Phil Music, weeknights, 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. on Talk Radio 1250 WTAE.
Speak for yourself. Talk Radio 333 WTAE.
God help us, we were watching Rosie O'Donnell during the break. Now, Lawrence likes to fool around with the TV, and we identify things and provide our own dialogue to some of the direct that's on there. And Rosie O'Donnell had a guest on, and Lawrence said, do you know who that is? And I looked about 30, 40 seconds, and I said, no. It was Linda Evans, who was, what was the show she was on, Dynasty? She's unrecognizable. You would, am I right, Lawrence? If you didn't know that was Linda Evans, it would take you a hell of a long time to figure. I mean, she's had so much facial surgery done. Doesn't look like herself. I saw Loretta Swit recently. And Loretta Swit looked good, but this can't be Loretta Swit. This must be a misprint. They get so much done to themselves. They look like Martians. I've talked before about Joan Rivers. Joan Rivers, you look at old clips of Joan Rivers from the Ed Sullivan Show in the 70s. Look at it. It's not the same woman. And again, this bride, who I can't stand anyway, has had so many facial surgeries that she can not move her mouth. She reminds me. She talks like Mary Madeline, if you stop and think about it. So does Frank Gifford. Frank Gifford has to talk between clenched teeth because he's had so many plastic surgeries. And I'll tell you who else I saw, Lawrence. I thought she had put on weight. Apparently, Linda Evans has been lifting. All right? I saw some shots of Tina Turner. Leg shots. Now, Tina Turner is supposed to have the legs of legs. I got news for you. Take this from a leg connoisseur. Tina has gone downhill. Not because she's turned to flab. Quite the contrary. This girl is bulking up. And I don't know how much iron she's pumping, but she's pumping too much. And the legs look like a linebacker's leg. Remember how sleek Tina's legs were for so many years? A la Jamie Lynn Curtis, who I'm not a big fan of, but Jamie Lee's got him. Tina Turner, quite frankly, I thought they were Ike's legs. I really and truly don't understand this at all. News is coming up. Alan Bowles standing by with same, and we'll be saluting legs in 5 minutes and a number of other things. Speaking of Chelsea Clinton, who also has, they call them dancer's legs. I mean, she got great gams. Back in 5, Doug Hoerth, Talk Radio 1250, WTAE, stay close.
It's capital A.
Right, that's it, yeah.
Doug Hoerth, speak for yourself. Talk Radio 1250, WTAE, Pittsburgh.
Good afternoon. It's partly cloudy and 41 degrees. I'm Alan Bowl with WTAE Radio News at 5, brought to you by First Plus Financial. You can get a home improvement or debt consolidation loan with no equity with First Plus Financial. Here's what's happening. The Attorney General asked to intervene in the Gamage case. Injuries in a Pat bus crash in the East End. And those escapees from the pen may have been headed for Mexico. And this hour's top story.
99 as computer-related stocks continue to outpace the rest of the market. The yield on the 30-year Treasury has dropped to 6.77%. For Nussbaum Partners at Advest, this is Bob Feldman.
And I'm Alan Bowl, WTAE Radio News at 5:06.
WTAE, Neil Spence traffic.
A little slow going on to the 4th bridge from the Stanwicks underpass, then at the top of Green Tree Hill. Very heavy, very slow. Angle of the sun, plus a lot of traffic coming on at the Green Tree ramps. On the Park East, it eased up a little bit, but staying slow, approaching Main Street all the way through the Squirrel Hill Tunnel. No longer is that at Boulevard ramp. Now out of the tunnel, it seems to move well going on toward Edgewood, Swissvale, Wilkinsburg, and Forest Hills. Liberty Bridge all the way across with a cross now not quite halfway through the city. 5th Avenue slow through Oakland. You have about a 5-block delay approaching the intersections of Kraft Avenue and Halkett. Boulevard of the Allies at the moment is steady. Right now, over Edgewood Borough, above Braddock Avenue, Neil Spence, Talk Radio 1250, WTAE.
WTAE, DiNardo weather.
For Pittsburgh and vicinity, the DiNardo forecast tonight, increasing cloudiness and not as cold. A low of 35 degrees around midnight, then temperatures rising before daybreak. On Wednesday, mostly cloudy, breezy, and warmer. Showers developing in the morning with a high of 50 degrees. Wednesday night, mostly cloudy, showers ending, a low of 35 degrees. And on Thursday, a mixture of clouds and sunshine and a few showers. Thursday's high, 38 degrees. In the WTAE Weather Center, this is Joe DiNardo.
Hi, my goodness, I thought it was Colonel Parker. 41 degrees at Talk Radio 1250, WTAE.
WTAE. Speak for yourself. Talk Radio 333, WTAE.
Are you ready?
I'm ready, baby. I'm ready. Yeah. I'm ready.
Ladies and gentlemen,
What?
please welcome to the stage the First Lady of Gospel Music. Y'all better get ready.
It's me.
You better get ready.
It's me.
Are you ready?
I'm really...
Doug Hoerth.
That's me, yeah.
Let's broaden our minds.
Now, let's get babes. Got some women, man.
Lawrence?
Hey, what's the name name of the Mama Luke was on every afternoon from 3 to 6. Talk Radio 1250 WTAE.
Doug Hoerth.
But unlike the other guy, he's still alive. This guy, you know. Doug Hoerth, that's me. Hope you know who you are. 3 to 6.
have brought more evil upon you.
Shut up. You're very annoying, Fred. 3 to 6. Fred does that on the other station. A lot of evil. Just sits around all day going, who's got food? 3 to 6, weekday afternoon. Saturday, 10 to 1. Be the good Lord willing, and the creeks don't rise. Ricky likes peanut butter and banana sandwich. It's somewhat similar to Elvis. Little problem there. I think of that. I think of Tom Parker. Colonel Parker died 87 years old. It wasn't until I read the Albert Goldman book on Elvis Presley. And Albert Goldman is a much maligned writer because Albert Goldman told the truth about a lot of these people. But Colonel Parker was always worshipped as being this great manager, this really, astute businessman. Colonel Parker was the worst manager of this side. I mean, he was like personal manager hell, this guy. At the time Elvis died, in a way, it's a good thing Elvis died when he did, because if he hadn't, he would have been broke. Colonel Parker was the worst manager in the world. Part of the reason being that he was an illegal immigrant. And he wouldn't allow Elvis to tour overseas. He signed up to these long-term, godforsaken contracts. He was a terrible manager. But I understand, Lawrence, he did make great fish cakes and knew Carol Burnett's cousin Lillian personally.
Talk Radio 1250, WTAE, the home of Rocco Pendola.
Our telephone operators are standing by.
It's not something I would try and lose any sleep over.
Unbelievable.
This is BS. I'm not putting up with it.
I thought a bomb went
Blah,
off.
blah, blah. Screw that. I mean, the guy lied.
So that's the deal.
I think it would be a much different football game. I want to start the charge right now.
Which ain't that hard.
I mean, can you say unbelievable? Unbelievable.
This is not your father's sports talk show. Yeah! Rocco Pendola.
It's just, there's not much more to say.
Talk Radio 1250, WTAE.
All right, so the question on the table is, what do you do with your ragu? Oh, yeah, now we'd identify ourselves. We don't have to because we're world famous. What do you do with your ragu?
Well, first of all, I didn't even know they were we. That's the other part of the we.
That's true.
That's true.
It's you and me. Anyway, what do you do with your ragu?
Well, listen, mind your own business. We're asking them. What do you do with your ragu? And if you have a good answer, creative one, an inventive one, you're going to win something.
We're talking about the world famous ragu sauce now.
Of course.
What do you do with that?
There's a bazillion kinds of it, and then a bazillion things you can do with it. You can dip it in things, you can spread it on things, you can do things.
All kinds of neat things is what you can do with your ragu, I want to tell you. Now, you got a postcard in here to Ragu Contest, Box 1250, Pittsburgh 15230. Ragu Contest, Box 1250, Pittsburgh 15230. The fax number 2444596, and you win?
And you win a case of ragu, a 4-pack of tickets to the Carnegie Science Center, and a chance for an upcoming ragu radio commercial starring you.
Yeah, and the just again, Ragu Contest, Box 1250, Pittsburgh 15230.
But you're up today. Available through Winter International, where safety is their business.
Speak for yourself.
Why?
Talk Radio 333, WTAE.
Doug Hoerth.
Doug Hoerth.
Yeah, we established that. 14 minutes after 5. Anybody who watched any of the inaugural stuff yesterday, and you have any comments on it, hopefully off-center ones. I mean, who's going to remember what the man said? You've already forgotten what the man said. Apparently it was not a memorable speech, but then they never are. You really and truly remember anything that any president ever said in a State of the Union address? Or in an inaugural? The only reason you remember, yes, good, not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for you, because the media made a big deal.